What do they say in New Orleans? Les le bon temps roulé. Let the good times roll, baby. The Tigers
You are such a
in the national championship for the first time in program history. And to do it in Kim Mulkey's second year in Baton Rouge. As for who they will face on Sunday at 3:30 Eastern on ABC, TBD. As we say hello courtside, I'm Elle Duncan. She's Carolyn Peck. That is Monica McNutt. Incredible. We are going to preview the second matchup of the night. Boy, did we get a treat, and we figured that we would. But let's talk about what keyed LSU. An 18-point swing from the end of the third quarter into the fourth. What was behind it?
The key is, with Kim Mulkey teams, is defense, and they turned up the defensive pressure. The key for this game we talked about was going to be points off turnovers. And Holly gave a report where it was Angel Reese in the huddle said, we are not tired, because they were playing tighter the majority of the first part of the game. That's how Georgia Amore was getting open for those threes. They were a step late. They were reacting instead of dictating. LSU went on the offensive. On the defensive end, they got aggressive, and that turned things around.
Angel Reese told us that the X factor would be if this team could shoot the ball a little bit better. They shot 47% tonight from the field. I think that would count as a little bit better. But beyond that, when the game was tied in the third quarter at 62-all, it was Lex Luthor, Alexis Morris's alter ego, y'all. She hit the free throws to tie the ball game. But the next three possessions were completely indicative to who this LSU team was. They got a steal. Flau'jae Johnson got involved. That put him up 2. Kateri Poole scores off of a defensive rebound and a stop for Virginia Tech. And then Angel Reese goes up with a second chance opportunity and cleans up her own miss. And so that's your 6-point margin as that team began to pull away.
We talked about for the first 3 quarters, LSU was playing 4 against 5. Flau'jae Johnson stepped up and made big plays, did not play like a freshman, was not afraid to get out there and get aggressive defensively. And that move after she got the steal and the hard dribble and dropped to the basket, I was like, oh, she gonna write a song. She gonna write a song about that one.
I can't wait to see if she's got a little flow for us as they're headed to the national championship. And again, we were sort of commenting at the time, like, how is it that LSU, a team that's really only second to South Carolina in rebounding, was getting beat on the boards by Virginia Tech? That was a big part of how they made that swing and how they got back in this game.
The thing that Pat Summitt always says is offense sells tickets, defense wins games, rebounds wins championships, and LSU brought the rebounding in that second half, specifically in the fourth quarter.
We love a good coach speak from the coach, Carolyn Peck here. All right, so again, a reminder that the Final Four teams arrived in Dallas a little earlier this week as we say goodbye to Kim Mulkey in that jacket. Can't wait for another one. Student athletes were welcome with a collaboration of all things Dallas, with the teams being greeted by lights, cameras, the DJ. You gotta have a dance floor, we've got the DJ. The teams then made their way to team buses, which were led downtown by police escort and custom team-branded Buick Enclave Avenires. We welcome Iowa and South Carolina to the last leg of the road to the Final Four. Familiar territory for one of these teams, though. Should we do a little flashing back? Do you guys remember way, way back to 2017? Yeah, that's the last time that the Final Four was in Dallas. South Carolina was a 1 seed for the 4th straight year. They took on Mississippi State in the title game after the Bulldogs snapped UConn's Division I record 111-game win streak in the semifinal on Morgan Williams buzzer beaters. And then the Gamecocks and Asia Wilson cruised to a 12-point win in the Natty, claiming their first national championship for Dawn Staley and the South Carolina program. We are going to hear from Dawn Staley in just a little bit, but this is live LSU celebrating. Smack it on there, ladies.
Awesome.
You love to see it. This is the best part. And again, this is a team that literally has 9 new members on it. Kim Mulkey said, who else do you know? Who else do you know is able to do what I've been able to do? Not even knowing the rosters that she said. She said some of the criticism in terms of the teams that they were going to be playing was unfair because she didn't even know what her team would be, and now they're in the national championship.
Second year.
Second year.
Second year, LSU.
Congratulations to LSU. Certainly not Dawn Staley's second year, but looking for her 3rd title. She caught up with Holly Rowe.
Well, Coach, your team is out there watching this first game. How hard is it to sit and wait for your turn on this stage?
It's really hard. Like you start internalizing nerves for either team, and we got our own problems to worry about.
You have been a point guard on this stage, and you've got 2 new point guards in Kiara Fletcher and Raven. How do you talk to them tonight about what's ahead for them?
The talking started 2 days ago when we first got our first practice here, and for Kiara, big stage, it's really hard for her, the Phantom. At least Raven was around it. Raven was on a bench. She didn't play, but your nerves are at an all-time high, and they're probably going to have to run around with Caitlin just to burn off some steam and settle down into the game.
You are facing kind of a transcendent great player in Caitlin Clark. How do you approach that defensively?
With pressure. For us, we gotta cut down her vision. We gotta occupy her with our pressure and make her think about our pressure. Hopefully, and not shoot the ball as much as she so efficiently does.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Thanks, Holly.
All right, thank you, Holly. There you see her, the former National Player of the Year. She was until yesterday when Caitlin Clark took those honors, 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year. But the thing about Aliyah Boston, and the beautiful thing about her is she's in a season where she's averaging the fewest minutes that she has as a freshman. She literally does anything that this team needs. She fills every hole.
Absolutely, but Aliyah Boston is not a post player. She's a basketball player.
100%.
And Dawn Staley has been able to move her around in so many areas so that she's not able to be double teamed.
And then, of course, there she is, the current National Player of the Year, Caitlin Clark.
Golly, it's just the catalyst, the engine, the thing that makes this Iowa Hawkeye squad go. But what I really enjoyed over the course of preparing for this matchup is just how much this team truly trusts her and how much she gives the team the credit, right? Just an effervescent personality, so to speak, and we all know she can shoot the lights out.
There it is, Caitlin Clark. We've seen so many young people here. It's funny, anytime someone's wearing an Iowa shirt, I'm like, who's your favorite player? And needless to say, it's Caitlin Clark about 90% of the time. That game about 24 minutes from now, as we will see who will meet LSU in the national championship. Much more on this game and more reaction from the Tigers locker room on the other side.
Congratulations, Caitlin, on a great year. I especially liked your no-looker passes and your long three-point shots. Good luck on your NCAA tournament. I know that you guys will go very far. I'll be cheering and watching. Good luck. Go Hawks.
Congratulations, Caitlin. Good job, Caitlin.
She's so cute. Oh, I love it.
Hey, Caitlin, you know how proud all of us are of you and what you've done on the court. But what you've done on the court has far exceeded what you've done in our community and around this country and getting little girls excited about playing basketball. But no place has it been better and felt more than at the University of Iowa Children's Hospital. So here today, I just want to let you know, you are the AP National Player of the Year.
What an incredible way to find out you're getting the top honors. And you just saw Harper there, Harper Scribe. We were fortunate enough to meet Harper a few weeks back when we did game day in Iowa City. She has become a de facto member of this team, a couple of these Iowa teams, as she continues her battle with cancer that did come back this past year. She's in her 9th treatment, but she made the journey here. And it's just amazing to see her, and again, to see the impact that Caitlin has had on not just the little girls in Iowa, but all over the country.
Oh, Harper is Hawkeye through and through.
Yes.
When we were in Iowa City, you asked her who was going to win, and she said, Hawkeyes, baby.
She said, go Hawkeyes. Yes, she did. And we hear Harper can shoot, too. Like, Harper's got some skills. She made a bunny for us. So, again, just an incredible way for Caitlin Clark to find out that she'd be the National Player of the Year. It's in large part why this is such an enticing matchup for everybody. Honestly, guys, it's a couple of seasons in the making. When we looked at the bracket last year, if it wasn't for Creighton playing the Cinderella upset train, this was something that we thought we would see, and we're getting it. Even Lisa Bluter, the head coach of Iowa, said this is the matchup that everyone wants to see. How do you expect it to go?
Well, you have the top offensive team going against the top defensive team. My philosophy is top defense wins every time because it's going to be really hard to get the shots that Iowa wants when South Carolina is locked in defensively. I'm going to be interested to watch to see who and how many different people guard Caitlin Clark, because you've got to mix things up.
We kept talking about that as we were watching Iowa play Louisville, right? And Jeff Walsh decided his approach is going to be to try and smother Caitlin as much as possible. Clearly they're here, it did not work. And so Monica, Dawn even said it, no one's been able to solve this riddle of Caitlin Clark. Why is she so difficult to solve?
Because you have two choices to make, or you have one choice to make. Make her a scorer or make her a facilitator, and both choices are equally as venomous, poisonous, all the words, right? Like, she's a tremendous scorer, obviously. She can shoot the three-pointer with so much range, which stretches defenses and puts so much pressure off them. Going to her left, off the step back, coming off of a tight curl. Like, literally, she's shooting threes at about 26 feet, which is deeper than the NBA range. And so she puts so much pressure on defenses to come away from the paint. And if they do that, Monica Zanano, who you see there, is tremendous in the paint. Rebecca broke down pre-game that she doesn't even need dribbles to be efficient. She's shooting better than 50% in that painted area, and it's just been tremendous. Now, if you decide, okay, I'm going to take away Caitlin Clark as a scorer, her court vision and IQ, she even said it, she plays basketball a step ahead. So she can make reads based off of what the defense is giving her and find her teammates without issue.
Now, Iowa, they shoot about 60% when they're shooting twos. That's their field goal percentage. But South Carolina, they only allow their opponents to shoot in the low 30s because it is a block party. Now, the thing that Lisa Bluter is going to have to do if South Carolina is able to defend the threes and also defend the paint, they got to get those short jumpers. The mid-range is going to be the key area to keep an eye on. And what Iowa needs to do, they got to get to 70. They've got to get to 70. Only 3 teams have scored 70 points against South Carolina.
Well, just as important as that, right, whether it's going to be mid-range or three-pointers, Iowa's going to have to contend with South Carolina on the glass, right? Yeah. Especially on the defensive glass for Iowa, as South Carolina is rebounding better than 45% of their own misses, right? And so they put so much pressure on you to stop them. And we know second chance points, in particular, after you've defended the duration of a shot clock, can be incredibly deflating.
We keep talking about what's the key to solving Iowa's offense. Listen, South Carolina doesn't have the most prolific offense in all of D1.
But it's pretty good.
But they can score. So if you're Iowa, do you have what you need to contend with what they're able to do offensively?
It depends on how Zia Cook is shooting the ball. Can she keep up with the senior year that she has already had? Will South Carolina be able to rebound and get it down the floor? Because then when you're not even in the half court, forget about it. They're off and running. Iowa, it's going to be key for them to try to control the tempo of the game, because if South Carolina allows it to be fast, it could be a long night for the Hawkeyes.
Well, we will certainly see as we're about 18 minutes from tip. I want you to get a quick look at the WBCA Coaches Trophy presented by Invesco QQQ, which will be awarded to the coach of the championship team. Will it be Iowa's head coach, Coach Bluter? Holly Rowe caught up with her just a little bit ago.
Coach Bluter, and you said something today at shoot-around that really struck me, that maybe you're not the tallest, the fastest, the strongest, but that common people can do something uncommon. How do you do that tonight?
You know, you do it with a lot of heart. You do it with staying focused and mission focused every single play of the game. You can't take any possessions off. You pay attention to details. Pay attention to little things. You know, we need to get out and try to run and get score baskets before they set up in their defense. And, you know, a lot of other things. Boxing out, as you know, is a big key.
Caitlin Clark could come into this game and feel the weight of the world and the pressure on her shoulders because she's put on such a great show. How do you avoid that?
Yeah, I almost feel sorry for her because it is a really hard situation for her. But if anybody can handle it in college sports, it is her. She's a superstar not only on the court but mentally. She's really got a leg up on that area. She's pretty goofy. She's loose. I think she's feeling good.
Knowing that they will hound her at every moment, how do you help her tonight?
You know, it's her teammates that have to help her, in my opinion, you know, and they will. They know that they have to do that. They have to step up and hit some shots and be able to play great defense for her, get into some transition offense because she can't do it all herself. There's no way at this level can she do that.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Holly.
All right, friends, it's time now for the Aflac trivia question. I love putting you guys on the spot. No Google. Caitlin Clark is averaging 30 points per game over her last 5 games. We know she can score. Who's the last player to score 30 points against South Carolina and that prolific defense? I'm looking at Monica's face, and it's giving I don't know. And so CP, we'll see if you can come up with the answer during
I have
the
a good
break.
guess, actually. I
Okay,
think I might have called that game.
Okay. Ooh, then we
I
should
can't pull up the
definitely
back
know.
box score.
Okay, well, we will see on the other side as, again, we get ready for the nightcap. Number 2, Iowa taking on number 1, South Carolina. Undefeated, 42 straight wins. Will they be just the 10th team in history to have an undefeated champion winning season? We'll certainly see on the other side. We'll close things out here courtside at American Airlines. Ooh, there's only one person sweating harder than some of these Iowa and South Carolina fans, and that's Monica McNutt. Because I asked her a question, and now we're going to put her on the spot. It's the Aflac trivia question. Okay, I asked you before the break. Caitlin Clark averaging 30 points per game over her last 5 games. Who's the last player to score 30 against South Carolina? What was your answer?
All right, my answer was Paige Beckers.
Your answer is correct.
I think I called that game.
February 28, 2021.
Yes.
Well done, Monty.
We called it in the studio because we were still living pandemic life. I called it with Lisa Byington. I remember finishing that game like, wow.
Wow. Exactly.
But that was like great analysis. Wow.
Yeah. Wow could pretty much sum up what we just watched a little earlier. As we get set for the second game, let's just remind you of what happened in the first game between number 1 Virginia Tech and number 3 LSU. Early on in this one, as Kim Mulkey looks to get to the Tigers to the national title for the first time, Georgia Amore knocks down the 3, but it was a slow start from deep for VT.
Yeah, Georgia Amore got a lot of shots up early, but wasn't able to connect. You could tell that Virginia Tech was rushed a little bit. And then LSU started to figure it out in the paint, as you see Angel Reese cashing in.
Yeah, later on in the 4th, there she is. This is the play. Flau'jae Johnson.
Flau'jae Johnson stepped up big. The freshman, she was late to the party, but she made a great entrance.
She was on European time.
Fashionably late, exactly. Fashionably late. Reese, 24 points, 12 rebounds. LSU would have a 19-point swing between the end of the 3rd quarter and with about 2.5 minutes into the 4th. Morris, 27 points. You said she'd be the X factor, and they move on to the national championship.
The Tigers, y'all, finished with 54 points in the paint. You talk about a swing in the ball game.
Is that good?
I mean, it's just, you know.
Angel Reese went to work inside.
Yes,
only had 1 offensive rebound in the first half. Then she just, look, Bayou Barbie showed up.
Bayou Barbie showed up and showed out, and now they await the winner of this game. Final thoughts before we get out of here. You mentioned rebounding, you mentioned the paint. You can't mention either of those things without mentioning South Carolina.
South Carolina goes to work in the paint. That is where their bread is buttered. It's in the paint, inside. But they're going to have to defend LSU. They're going to have to defend Iowa and the 3-point line.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about South Carolina's challenge in defending Iowa. But frankly, Iowa is going to have to defend South Carolina as well. And in the regional versus Colorado, we saw Caitlin Clark pick up 2 quick fouls and have to go to the bench in the first half. Now, granted, she responded in kind in the second half. However, they've got to stay on the floor and figure out a way to slow the Gamecocks.
We saw Iowa, again, situationally, they can play some defense. We saw them with Louisville get those 11 steals. We also saw Monica Zanano talk about the idea of understanding how athletic this South Carolina team, and she's not exactly sure, as you know, not exactly a rim protector, about how she's going to go toe-to-toe with Aliyah Boston. If you're Lisa Buter, how are you sort of navigating that area in the matchups?
You're going to change up your defenses. Never let South Carolina get settled or comfortable. You can throw in a zone, some man-to-man, a triangle and 2. You can even look at a box of 1.
You're also asking your guys to crash the glass. Like, rebounding is going to be a huge thing. If you defend well over the course of possession, you don't want to give up an offensive rebound and negate all of that work.
Again, we just talked about it in that first game. When did Virginia Tech open the game up? When they started out-rebounding LSU. If there is a way for Iowa to do that tonight, they could hang. The game's coming up next on ESPN, ESPNU, and ESPN+. And make sure to catch the Bird and Tarazi Show, presented by AT&T on ESPN2 and ESPN+. And you can watch it later as well, as it's always on the app. When we come back, we've got Tip with Ryan Rucco, Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe, and Andrea Carter. We'll see you at the half.
This team has a singular vision, and that is to be amongst the greatest of all time.
I even think she's elevated her game in the tournament.
When more is what you want, more is what you need to demand of yourself, to give to your team.
Winning is the only option.
One star is more than enough to light up an arena and captivate the country, coast to coast.
There are stars and there are solar systems.
And there is more legacy to build by going back-to-back, undefeated and unwavering in the pursuit.
Undefeated South Carolina.
There is more effort to give, more emotion to feel. Tonight is about all of that and more.
We welcome you to the NCAA Women's Championship presented by Capital One in Dallas, Texas, getting ready for a matchup between Caitlin Clark, the 2023 National Player of the Year, and Aliyah Boston, the 2022 National Player of the Year. The winner of this game will move on to face LSU in the championship game Sunday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. As we welcome you back courtside. Hey again, everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. We are so happy to be with you for what should be an epic contest here. Iowa going up against undefeated South Carolina. Rebecca, there are few things more entertaining on earth right now than watching Caitlin Clark play basketball.
Yeah, that is without question. And Caitlin Clark's impact on the offensive end of the floor has been unmatched this season. Her ability to score 27 points a game. Her ability to involve her teammates. 8.5 assists a game. Ryan, she has orchestrated Iowa's excellence all season long.
Coming off a monster game in the Elite Eight, the first 40-point triple-double in NCAA tournament history. Now, we know she's lethal from three, but she's surrounded by shooters as well. For more on that, let's send things over to Andrea Carter.
Well, Ryan, you're exactly right. Iowa is making 11 threes per game in the tournament. 5 of those are from Caitlin Clark. The other 6 are from their trio of sharpshooters, and we have seen it all season long. 3 sharpshooters stepping up and knocking down open shots. If you watch Caitlin Clark, she's getting denied on the wing. Monica Sonano gets attention from the defense inside the paint. That leaves Kate Martin wide open for 3. McKenna Warnock is the second sharpshooter who knocks it down. And Gabby Marshall has also been on fire, especially in her last 10 games, shooting over 50%. They will need those 3 sharpshooters today against South Carolina to shoot with confidence.
Well, no doubt, Drea, you need everything that you can get to go up against South Carolina and Aliyah Boston.
Yeah, Boston's dominance on both ends of the floor has been the catalyst for South Carolina this season. She has led her team to an undefeated record, overpowering defenders inside, 13 points a game, cleaning up the glass as well, and providing leadership for every step of this Final Four journey.
You see what Boston did in the Elite Eight against Maryland. For more on Aliyah, let's send things over to Holly Rowe.
Aliyah Boston might be the most unselfish superstar in the country, but she knows what sacrifice takes. She grew up on the U.S. Virgin Islands on St. Thomas, and as she started to get better as a middle school basketball player, her coach, Coach Bruley, said to her mom, if she's going to be great, she has to leave the island. And so at just 12 years old, Aliyah and her sister Alexis moved away from home to Massachusetts and lived with their aunt. That was the move that put her on the radar for John Staley and South Carolina. She's given up family time, living at home, all that it takes. She has been unselfish, and here she is on the precipice of history for South Carolina. But tonight, John Staley doesn't want her to be selfish. She said Aliyah Boston has to get touches for us to win this game.
All right, Holly, time to meet the rest of South Carolina. It's Capital One. Meet the players.
Hi, I'm Bree Beal. I'm a senior guard at the University of South Carolina, and this is my team. First up, we have Aliyah Boston, Mama Boston, the double-double queen. And now we have our court general, Kiera Fletcher, aka Key. Then at guard, we have Zaya Cook, the craftiest, the quickest guard. Last but not least, we have Victoria Saxton, the silent but deadly board monster. Final Four action again, back at it.
That South Carolina team will be led by that woman, Dawn Staley, a 2-time champion in her 15th season as head coach of South Carolina. And on the opposing bench, For Iowa, it is Lisa Bluder in her 23rd season and her first Final Four appearance. Time to meet the Hawkeyes.
Hi, my name is Monica Sonano, avid reader, avid video gamer, and here are the Hawks. First up, Kate Martin. Some call her the next Lisa Bluder. And here we have Gabby Marshall. Now some may say she has pretty eyes, and I would agree. McKenna Warnock. She'll be your next dentist for sure. Chef Caitlin Clark. Now she loves to bake the team cookies. Let's see what she's dishing out tonight. Bam! 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 Hawks have arrived in Dallas. Let's do this thing. Go Hawks.
Well done, Monica and Bree. Here we go. One of the most anticipated matchups in the history of women's college basketball. Caitlin Clark and Iowa going up against the South Carolina Machine. 42 straight wins for Aliyah Boston and the Gamecocks. A national championship a season ago. 36-0 thus far this season. They have played just 5 games decided by 9 points or fewer. Sonano and Saxton to jump it up. And we are underway as South Carolina wins the tip. Iowa packing it in.
Iowa starting out in a triangle and 2. It's a defense that gave them so much success in their Elite 8 matchup.
Here's Boston with Clark switched out on her. Beal gets a good look. Can't hit the 3, and the rebound flagged down by Martin. That'll be a key for Iowa, securing the defensive glass against South Carolina, who has been historically good when it comes to offensive rebounding. Martin misses the layup, and Boston there for the board. A good look there for Kate Martin, considered the glue of this Iowa team. Here's Fletcher. Her jumper is airmailed, and Martin another board. Fletcher trying to deny Clark, who finally has it in her arms.
It's one thing you can do to try to limit Caitlin Clark is not make the outlet easy to get to her.
Clark gives it up. Sonano can't finish it. Like Clark might have had a look herself. Couple of empty possessions for each team to start. In this Final Four matchup, LSU waiting to face the winners Sunday afternoon after their huge fourth quarter to come back and beat Virginia Tech. 5 to shoot, dump inside. Denied by Sonano, who controls it for Iowa.
And you see the incredible congestion defensively by Iowa.
Clark, a deep one, nearly banked in. And Beal the rebound. Here's Beal looking to push pace for South Carolina, and Beal can't hit the banker. Martin able to flag down the rebound. Iowa able to hold strong defensively through these first few possessions.
And both of these teams very willing and capable of pushing in transition and scoring quickly.
Here's Clark working around Fletcher. Caitlin Clark has Iowa on the board first.
Beautiful set, clear out the right side of the floor, except for Gabby Marshall, one of the shooters who the defender cannot leave. Clark gets the easy 2.
Clark averaging 30 points, 11 assists in this tournament. The AP Player of the Year. Fletcher given a world of space. Here's Boston. Boston faces up, can't finish. Martin, yet another rebound. Here comes Kate Martin, busting ahead, gets denied by Boston.
South Carolina is the best shot blocking team in the country, much because of Aliyah Boston's prowess inside.
Here's a look at how they got here, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. 4 players with at least 1 block, to your point. Only team in Division I with that. Clark sidestepping 3, rims out. Great box out from Boston. Another chance here for Iowa, though. Sonano, the spin, and the finish. The Hawkeye faithful was loud in Seattle, and their voices have carried to Dallas. And a whistle underneath, going to go against Warnock as she was battling with Boston, and that is always a sub-story when you're going against the physicality of South Carolina. Taking a look at how they got here, brought to you by Intuit QuickBooks. And South Carolina, 36-0. The points per game margin leading Division I. You see how incredible it is as Cook hits the jumper.
Gabby Marshall right up on Zia Cook, but able to elevate and score. She is so vitally important because she is a piece for South Carolina who can create her own shot.
Clark has a lot of space, did not take, as the switch on Boston. Is looking to get it to Sonano. Clark will take Boston instead. Pedals through, hooks it up and off. Boston did a nice job there.
That's one of the things that makes her elite, is her ability to defend and contain on the perimeter against guards.
Saxton has the position inside, surrounded and just taken away by Sonano. Clark the get-ahead right in the lap of Warnock for two.
Iowa is an elite transition offensive team, but Lisa Bluter said in order to run, we got to corral those rebounds, and that's what's so tough against South Carolina.
Clark orchestrates get-ahead passes, reminiscent of Sue Bird, as the offensive foul is called against South Carolina.
37% of Caitlin Clark's assists come in transition. Her get-aheads from before midcourt are elite.
This is what you're talking about, Rebecca.
She's as good as they come in terms of having her head up, few dribbles, leading her teammates so they have an easy look the other end.
That foul was on Saxton. South Carolina, a very deep team. Clark looking to turn the corner, lays it in through the contact for Caitlin Clark. And an 8-2 start for Iowa. Zia Cook has it knocked away by Marshall. Going to stay here with the Gamecocks. Well, you have to like this start defensively if you're Iowa.
And South Carolina has seen this kind of defense all season long, playing off some players, contesting others. Caitlin Clark has not seen that kind of defense all year long in terms of the power of Aliyah Boston, but able to get by and finish.
Clark with 4 early points. Boston, the two-time Naismith Defensive Player of the Year, defended her title. With that announcement earlier this week, Hannah Stolke will come and spell Monica Sonano. Addison O'Grady in as well for Iowa. Camila Cardoso and Raven Johnson in off the bench for South Carolina as Cook hits another, and that's huge for the Gamecocks.
Yeah, that was a great double stagger screen away for Zia Cook, and she has great elevation on her jump shot.
Clark battling to get the basketball. Fletcher and Johnson have been all over her. Here is Clark off the handoff. Tried to sneak a pass inside, could not do it. Zia Cook evades the foul. Cook lays it in. Zia Cook off to a terrific start here in the semifinals. Clark will fire and hit from three. Seven first quarter points for Caitlin Clark. Here's Raven Johnson lining it up. Back iron, no. Cardoso, another chance here for South Carolina. Nearly thrown away. Beal able to protect it. Boston bounces out for it. Working Stolke, and that's an offensive foul. First personal on Boston. Sizzling start from Clark.
South Carolina trying to deny Caitlin Clark. Much easier said than done. Here's one of her deep threes.
There are stars and there are solar systems. Caitlin Clark is the latter. Well, everything revolves around Caitlin Clark, second all-time in career points per game. She is the National Player of the Year and has the second most triple-doubles in history. Only Sabrina Ionescu with more, and she's off to a good start tonight, Rebecca.
And Ryan, South Carolina is trying to deny Caitlin Clark from getting the ball on the inbound. You see it right here, but Iowa is ready for it. They are inbounding to someone else, and now she can get it on the run, where she is more dangerous than any player in the country. Gets it out, has space, can get the shot up. Iowa's ready.
First three of the game for Clark. She has 7 early points. Sonano back in for Iowa. O'Grady goes to the bench. Stolke stays on the floor. An 11-6 start for Iowa. Clark thought about the three. Has to give it up. Finds Helton Martin. Still time to operate. Clark, a bomb. Off the mark.
But how about South Carolina? 6'5", Boston switches on her. 6'7", Cardoso switches on her.
Raven Johnson given all kinds of space. Cardoso just too big.
And because of their bigs' ability to switch on the perimeter defensively, Dawn Staley can go with this giant lineup inside.
Clark turns the corner and lays it in. 9 points for Caitlin Clark. Saw the 6'7" size of Cardoso. That's who Dawn Staley calls South Carolina's separator.
And look at how far Caitlin Clark is playing off of Raven Johnson.
Daring her to shoot from three.
You see her? She's not even looking at her. She's swiped away with her hand.
Johnson dumps it into Cardoso. She throws it away. We've seen Lisa Bluder inventive defensively all season long. Clark goes cross court. Stolke. Good anticipation there by Johnson to knock it away. Zaya Cook through the lane. Can't cup it in. Battle on the glass. Cook gets it back. Banks it in, plus the foul. A personal on Clark and a chance for three for Cook.
Iowa is going to dare certain players on the South Carolina team to shoot the basketball. Watch Caitlin Clark, left side. She doesn't even look at her, waves her hand as if to say, I don't care about you, I'm not defending you.
But Zaya Cook has answered the call early for South Carolina. Dawn Staley told us before the game we would not be here if it wasn't for the maturation of Zaya Cook, Holly.
You guys, you might remember in this very game a year ago against Louisville, they had to take her out of the game. She was missing everything and wasn't playing defense like they needed. Dawn had a meeting with her at the beginning of this season and said, we can only go as far as your mental strength will take us, and she changed it. She said she's the sole reason we're where we are because she's done the work, and Zaya Cook has been the mentally strong player here in the first quarter.
Clark, great look. Sonano lays it in. 15-11, Iowa in front. Hall kept her right foot down. Boston getting all kinds of attention. That three won't go. Cardoso, the offensive rebound, throws it away. Marshall on the steal. Kate Martin will fire, and hit. An 18-11 start for the Hawkeyes. Remember, Clark already with a personal, Boston as well. Johnson, no. Long rebound, Warnock, and a foul called on Boston. That will be her second. Wow. Looked like she was just pursuing the rebound.
Iowa focusing, of course, on boxing out. Oh, you cannot wrap around like that. Oh, that is a tough second foul, Rye.
And Boston will head to the bench with 2 fouls in this first. Can Iowa take advantage? Remember, South Carolina, unlike most teams that make it this far, are extraordinarily deep. Sonano lays it in on the delivery from Clark.
Dawn Staley's focus at practice was to limit Iowa's threes, but it has been at the expense of some wide open layups and miscommunication defensively.
4th assist for Clark, a 7-0 Iowa run. Cook has 9 for South Carolina. A team that has not lost since March 6th of 2022. Cook No. Rebound Ami here. Deflected by Marshall, who's been pesky when it comes to those outlet passes off of offensive rebounds. Cook fires again. Can't hit. Another O board. This time it's Johnson. She'll lay it in. That's what South Carolina does so well, as Sonano has to get it in, finds Martin. South Carolina, the best offensive rebounding team in the nation, historically good when it comes to grabbing their own misses. They get them nearly 50% of the time. You see averaging 20 O boards per game in the tournament. Clark goes early and gets fouled. Caitlin Clark misses the layup, but will shoot 2. Left some time for South Carolina, though. Boston just a spectator at the moment with 2 fouls, and we'll see how Dawn Staley plays it. What we've seen from the Sweet 16 is coaches are very reluctant to play any of their key figures once they pick up that second in the first half, as Clark hits the first. Clark hits both. First free throws for Iowa. Clark will check out, get a little early start on a end of quarter break. 89th straight game in double figures, 11 points, 4 assists for Caitlin Clark. 3 seconds left in the quarter. Zaya Cook looking for an angle, can't hit, and that is how the first quarter will end. Iowa a 9-point lead after 1. We will chat with Lisa Bluter when we come back.
The greatness of Caitlin Clark is not just her scoring and her logo threes. It is her ability to facilitate, to find open teammates, to orchestrate, make beautiful passes that lead to easy buckets.
Coach Bluter, your game plan has been surgical so far. How has your team executed it so well?
They've done a great job. We just have to know our personnel. I think we're doing as good a job as we can boxing out. It's tough. They're big. I'm really proud of Gabby's defense right now. She's doing a great job. Of course, we've gotten to the rim a couple times, which has been really nice.
You've had some creative ways to get Caitlin Clark open coming out of bounds and get her some space. How has that worked?
Okay, we're not getting the speed out of that we'd like to, but, you know, I mean, she's getting the ball in her hands, right? She's able to facilitate and run her offense, so that's pretty good.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Holly.
Let's take a look at our thrilling drives from tonight's game, brought to you by Nissan. Drea?
Well, you heard Lisa Bluter say it. She is getting the ball in her hands. And you watch, we've seen this 3 times, one-on-one matchup with Caitlin Clark, her ability to get on the defender's hip and score a layup. And then when she draws a couple of defenders, she has been able to find her teammates there. 2 high hands trying to limit Caitlin Clark from the 3. She drops the dime to Sonano down low. Surgical is the word Holly Rowe used. That was Caitlin Clark in that quarter.
Lisa Bluter has done an incredible job of getting the right people on the right sides of the floor so Caitlin Clark can play to her advantage. And you heard Coach Bluter tell Holly, you know, teams try to take the ball out of Caitlin Clark's hands. It's a lot easier said than done.
Here's Clark, pressured by Johnson. Boston remains on the bench with 2 fouls. Warnock gets a look. Short on a 3, and Zaya Cook off and running for South Carolina. She had 9 in the first quarter to lead the way for the Gamecocks.
The scouting report defense by Iowa, man-to-man, but sagging in all the right places, if there's such a thing.
Leave that with you, my friend. Thompson into the game for South Carolina. Gets a look here from 3. Airballs it, and it's cleaned up by Clark.
Dawn Staley trying to find someone who is confident shooting from the perimeter.
Clark gives it up. Warnock another look. That one no good either, and a nice box out from Cardoso. Here's Zaya Cook pushing pace, digging into Marshall and laying it in.
Where would South Carolina be in this game so far without Zaya Cook?
It was Destiny Henderson who stepped up for them last season in the championship game with a 26-point performance. Here's Martin, finds Sonano on the roll and gets fouled. Monica Sonano will shoot 2 as Cardoso picks up her first.
Zia Cook with the in and out dribble and working the baseline. Gabby Marshall plays pretty good defense, but Zia Cook able to wiggle in and find a little life.
Here's tonight's player resume brought to you by Indeed. Zia Cook, you see the way she has improved this season, a third-team All-American. And those are her offensive numbers. You heard Holly talk about it before. Zia has improved dramatically on the defensive end, which has really been Dawn Staley's focus. We asked her what she needs from Zia tonight. She said, I don't care what I get offensively, as long as she keeps defending the way she has.
Well, she certainly cares now because Zia Cook is 5 of 9. The rest of the South Carolina team 2 for 11.
And Aliyah Boston just a spectator right now after that second foul. Last year's player of the year. Caitlin Clark this year's. Amihir bodies in, can't finish. Iowa battling, Amihir finishing plus the foul. That's where South Carolina can just bully ball you, and a chance for 3. Hey, don't forget to check out the Vernon Tarasi Show, presented by AT&T, currently on ESPN2, featuring WNBA legends and all-around cool humans, Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. If you miss any of the show, you can watch it later on demand, available only on ESPN+. Amihir. It's the free throw. And that's what we're talking about with the depth of South Carolina, Rebecca. It's not just size in their starting lineup. Clark nearly got swallowed up by 3 defenders. Clark bounces inside. Sonano going up tough, and Cardoso gobbled it up. Here comes Cook with some zest. Cook through the lane, cups it in, plus the foul. Zia Cook a chance for 3. That is number 2 on Caitlin Clark.
Zia Cook has done a really nice job of getting inside here. Cardoso at 6'7", just too hard to shoot over.
And a huge foul call there, as now Clark has 2 as well. We know Boston is on the bench with 2. And unlike Boston, Clark is going to remain on the floor. Clark fading and hitting. Ends a little 6-0 burst from South Carolina. Lisa Bluder trusting her junior guard, who, for those wondering, is not draft eligible, as Clark comes back and knocks it out of bounds. So yes, you'll get at least one more year watching Caitlin Clark at Iowa.
You come into a game like this and just hope as a fan that the Stars don't get in foul trouble, and both of them are.
Johnson again being dared to shoot by Caitlin Clark. Not even attempting to defend her out there. She will take, can't hit. Rebound, Cardoso gets the roll. South Carolina so dominant on the offensive glass.
That's where they're relentless. A missed shot is like an assist for South Carolina.
Sydney Falter gets it into the arms of Clark. Clark gets it across the timeline. A deep 3 is good. Caitlin Clark rising to the moment. Amihir looking inside, storms in, can't finish. Loose ball, Amihir gets it back. No, another chance here. And we'll have a tie-up. Possession arrow stays with South Carolina.
You try to deny Caitlin Clark the basketball because with it in her hands, her range is almost limitless. This is good defense by Raven Johnson. Caitlin Clark still easily able to drain it.
Clark out there with 2 fouls. Johnson, after another set of offensive rebounds, gets it into Cook. Amihir dumps it in, and it's knocked off the window. Clark has it. Clark zipping into the paint. Out to Marshall. Marshall thinking about getting it back to Clark, and will. Clark has it poked away. What a play by Ami here. Just took it away from Caitlin Clark, and now Zaya Cook is going to lay it in.
Ami here is about the 4th different defender we have seen on Caitlin Clark.
And she has given South Carolina terrific minutes off the bench here.
6'5" and long.
Clark dumps it to Sonano on the roll, serves it in. 16 points, 5 assists for Caitlin Clark. Sonano up to 10 points. That duo, the only in Big Ten history to score 2,000 points apiece. Johnson, again, given all that space. Cook will fire a deep one. Short, rebound Clark. Caitlin Clark is fouled in the backcourt by Johnson. 3rd team foul against South Carolina, and the 1st on Johnson.
Caitlin Clark coming out, I thought she was looking a little bit tired, and I know Lisa Bluter gives her that little bit of extra time around the TV timeouts.
Gets a breather here. Caitlin Clark, officially the first player in Division I history with 1,000 points and 300 assists in a single season. Martin loses the dribble, and it's taken by South Carolina. Here's Johnson motoring in transition, and it's out of bounds off of Iowa, and it's going to stay here.
And this is the difference in one of them between the stars on this team. South Carolina can weather the storm with Aliyah Boston on the bench in foul trouble. Caitlin Clark's getting a quick break because Iowa could not weather the storm with her having to sit for prolonged minutes.
Bree Hall gives it back to Cook. 6-point Iowa lead. 2 fouls for Boston, 2 for Clark. Dumped into Cardoso, working Sonano. Cardoso finds the angle.
Just so big. This South Carolina lineup is just so big.
Here's Davis. Over to Martin. Iowa trying to survive the minutes without Clark, and a foul here is going to go against South Carolina. Caitlin Clark has delivered thus far in this first half. Here's a look at the WBCA Coaches Trophy presented by Invesco QQQ, which will be awarded to the national championship winning coach. Iowa 4-point lead midway through the second. Let's send things over to Drea.
Well, Ryan, Caitlin Clark has been able to find Monica Sonano on multiple occasions, and if you watch this play, South Carolina is going to switch on the screen, and if we freeze it here, Letitia Mee here is unable to get under Sonano, and the issue is with a shooter on the weak side, Sonano has a wide open paint to roll right to the basket, and Caitlin Clark has the vision and the skill set to deliver the basketball. The shooter's on the weak side, and switching those ball screens and not getting under, that's been effective for Iowa.
Lisa Bluter has been masterful in the sets that she has run and putting the shooters on the side of the floor that benefit her team, whether it's in pick and roll or dribble penetration.
Kate Martin barrels in, couldn't get the whistle or the bucket. South Carolina ball as they weather the storm with Aliyah Boston on the bench. And we have a shot clock issue.
Ryan, earlier this season we were talking to Dawn Staley, and she called Camila Cardoso the separator. Cardoso at 6'7" is 3 for 3 from the floor right now, and there have been times in this first half where it's looked like a 6th grade team playing against a 9th grade team in terms of the difference in size and the impact it's having on the offensive glass.
Clark playing with 2 fouls. Hall will fire, can't hit from 3. Another offensive rebound. Ami here lays it in, plus the foul. Sonano reaching in, and that'll be number 2 on Monica Sonano as Ami here continues to attack the offensive glass.
It can be hard to shoot when you are that wide open, but it is such a security blanket when you have teammates who can get to the offensive glass. Aliyah Boston used to getting the offensive boards and not cheering for them. Lisa Bluter, we got to box out.
Ami here hits the free throw. How about Letitia Ami here and her minutes 6 points, 5 rebounds, all of them offensive, and the Iowa lead has been shaved down to 1. Clark will fire, no, front rim, Cook the rebound. Hall hops through, has it stripped momentarily. South Carolina riding a 42-game winning streak. The reigning champs, 36-0 this season. Hall will fire again. In and out, long rebound. This time Clark has it. Clark spins, lost it out of bounds. Last hit, Iowa. Clark wanted a whistle, did not get it.
Clark's so good when she's in the open floor. I got a little bit of a bump there.
Looked like Hall got into the back of Clark, and that's what Clark's pointing at, saying, look at the replay.
They don't tend to do that.
No, and in fact, even if they did,
wouldn't help.
No. Not tangibly, anyway. Good denial there from Davis. A knee here. The pivot, the finish, and South Carolina has its first lead of the night. A 7-0 run as the Gamecocks have got it done with Boston on the bench. Warnock gets free, misses the three, long rebound, Cook after it. Free Beal, and she stepped out of bounds. South Carolina turns it over. Hey, coming up at halftime, Degree Halftime Report. Live with LSU coach Kim Mulkey, just her second season with the Tigers, and they are headed to the national championship game. First time in program history, plus reactions to the first half from our outstanding crew, including Carolyn Peck, honored at halftime, headed to the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. So will she someday. Caitlin Clark buries the three.
It is exhausting playing against South Carolina and how they can wear on you getting to the offensive glass, how physical they are. So you see Lisa Bluter continuing to go to her bench. But the one player who seems at times to be tireless is that young woman, Caitlin Clark.
19 points, 5 assists for Clark, playing with 2 fouls. Zaya Cook has had a big-time first half. Weaves through, dishes out. Hall gonna fire again. That one is good. First three of the game for South Carolina. Stokey running on the other end, lays it in on the dime from Clark. How about the action here?
It has not disappointed.
Iowa 1-point lead. South Carolina now 1 for 10 from deep. Iowa 4 for 11. Zaya Cook leans in and banks it home.
I could not be more impressed with Zaya Cook's readiness in this game.
And a foul on Hall is going to be the 4th on South Carolina.
Talking about the get-ahead passes, and so many this season from Caitlin Clark have landed in the arms of Hannah Stokey. She runs the floor so well. And then Zaya Cook, quickness and then patience. She has been so good and efficient here the first half.
18 in the first half for Zaya Cook. Shining in this moment for her team when they need her most. Martin gets it across the timeline. Trying to get it back to Clark. Could not. Now does. 1 point South Carolina lead. Clark gets it back. On the roll, the layup, no good from O'Grady. Had a clean look. Sonano on the bench with 2 fouls. He is normally on the receiving end of those. Beal in the corner. No. Weak side rebound. Stokey. Over to Clark. Clark wants it back. 45 seconds to go in this opening half. Clark drops it to O'Grady. Denied by Cardoso. A force on the interior.
Caitlin Clark is having to work so hard just to get the ball back in her hands. Beautiful pass, but that's a tough one to finish over 6-7. The separator.
3 blocks now for Cardoso. Clark with 13 to shoot. Dumps it in to O'Grady. Clark looking to get it. Martin putting it on the floor. And she's fouled. South Carolina over the limit. So Kate Martin will go to the line to shoot 2. South Carolina has outscored Iowa 24-14 thus far in this second.
Lisa Bluder taking Caitlin Clark out of the game for what will be a defensive possession.
And so Clark able to navigate having those 2 fouls as Martin hits the first. 19 points, 6 assists for Clark, 18 points, 5 rebounds for Cook to lead South Carolina. Kate Martin with 5 rebounds in this opening half. South Carolina a +10 on the glass as Martin hits both. Hall will check in. So will Olivia Thompson.
Trying to put a little spacing on the floor, and South Carolina has gone to a lot of high ball screen for Zia Cook. Sometimes it's a double screen, sometimes it's a single.
You take a look at the way South Carolina has not only weathered the storm, but excelled with Boston on the bench in this first half. The 19-2 bench points advantage for the Gamecocks.
Shooters in the corners, high ball screen.
Here it is. Cook into the corner. Thompson can't hit. Cardoso is fouled by either Stolke or O'Grady. They both were there, and it looks like it's going to be Stolke. Iowa had a foul to give. Raven Johnson and Bree Beal will check in for South Carolina as Thompson and Hall enter the bench.
It's 11 offensive rebounds for South Carolina.
That's 6 lead changes over the last 3 minutes. Ami here, barrels in and travel.
You put Caitlin Clark back in? Yes, you do.
And if you're Clark, you just have to make sure not to push off in any way with 2 fouls.
Or at least not to get called for it.
That. 8th turnover for South Carolina. Sonano in as well with her 2 fouls. 4 seconds to operate for Iowa. Sonano on the catch, gets it to Clark, gives it up. Marshall connects, no, halfway down, and it pops out on a beautifully drawn up point from the Iowa bench. Iowa takes a 1-point lead over undefeated South Carolina into halftime, and Caitlin Clark, 19 points, 6 assists, is with Holly Rowe.
Well, Caitlin, your team came out and really punched them in the mouth early. What was the mindset starting this game?
Well, we got to set the tone on defense. I thought we could have boxed out a little better there in the second quarter, but, you know, if they're going to get the ball around the rim off of a rebound, we don't want to give up 3-point plays. Too many 3-point plays there. Can't put them at the free throw line, but, you know, we're going to come out with the mentality that we can win, and I think it all starts with confidence, and I thought we were very confident to start the game.
South Carolina is so strong. They're throwing so many different defenders and so many different looks at you. How are you overcoming that right now?
I think reading it. You know, we're trying to set a lot of ball screens because I think they're trying to use their length with their posts to almost trap me or double me, but, you know, our posts are slipping to the basket, so we need more of that action.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, big first half from Caitlin Clark, continuing her March show. Iowa a 1-point lead over the defending champs at the half. Time to head to Elle Duncan and our crew for the Degree Halftime Report.
Thank you, Ryan Rucco. Oh my, welcome to the Degree Halftime Report as we are courtside here at American Airlines Center. Sometimes you build a matchup up and you just hope it pays off, and oh my goodness, what a first half between #1 South Carolina and #2 in Iowa. Elle Duncan, Carolyn Peck, and Monica McNutt. When we talk about depth, as it relates to South Carolina. What we mean is that their generational talent, Aliyah Boston, can go to the bench with their team down 7,
right?
And they are just fine, CP.
Absolutely. Well, thank goodness that South Carolina had Zia Cook.
Yeah.
Zia Cook was huge, 18 points in that first half. And because the defense of Iowa was playing off and packing the paint, instead of just settling for shots, Zia did a terrific job of really getting into that open window, whether it was going all the way to the rim or even pulling up at that mid-range area. But you talk about the bench, Letitia Mehier and
Bree Hall,
Camilla Cardoso came in. I mean, it's like, Don, you know we play spades. And it's like, okay, I don't like that. And I'm going to put these down, and then what can I get from the kitty and put it right there? That's what Dawn can do with all the depth that she has on her roster.
19 points off of her bench. And I am thoroughly impressed with Iowa's ability to lock in this first half in terms of their defensive strategy. You heard Caitlin say it to Holly as we went to the break that they had to play with confidence, and I thought you could feel that from them, and not just on the offensive side of the ball, which is what we expected. Their philosophy of packing in the paint and literally letting the folks that can't shoot the ball go and be unbothered. I mean, I understand Raven Johnson, this is her first full season healthy, but baby girl, you got to look at the rim.
She's an All-American, a McDonald's All-American.
And I get it. This is a big stage. Don said pregame that her team would probably have to run off just some of the nerves, and that may be true. But I give big credit to Lisa Bluter and this squad for executing that defensive strategy to a T to put them in this position at halftime.
Okay, if you're Dawn Staley, though, and you're going into the half, maybe a place that you could tell your team they could improve on, the layups. Iowa has 9 layups right now. We're seeing some defensive lapses from South Carolina.
Well, no, with Iowa, you want them to shoot layups. You would rather layups than threes, right?
Okay.
So you've got to pressure them off the three-point line. And yes, they're going to get layups, but the thing South Carolina has got to not do is put Iowa on the free throw line.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And you look at their three-point percentage so far in this ballgame, they're 4 of 12, which you'll sort of kind of live with. Of course, the big number you check on is Caitlin, who's 3 of 7. That's pretty good for the type of defensive attention that she's been garnering in this ballgame. But like we said, I expect both teams to make some adjustments, right? Yeah. Aliyah Boston's going to get back on the floor. We start there. But then I think that bench is going to continue to be a factor. I watched Caitlin Clark when she came to the bench with that media timeout.
She's
and
panting.
Baby girl needed,
panting.
You know what I'm saying, a mask.
Panting.
She was worn out.
Yeah. 5 different players have guarded Caitlin Clark. So keeping fresh legs and different ways to guard her has been tough.
It's the wear-down effect. It's what South Carolina does very well, which is why they're one of the best second-half teams, the best second-half team in the league. Who will LSU be facing in the national championship? We will find out in 20 minutes. But for now, Angel Reese is standing by, her team punching their ticket to the title game for the first time. Her and Kim Mulkey will be joining us. There she is. They'll be joining. Come on up, Angel. She'll be joining us after the break. We'll talk with Angel Reese and Kim Mulkey in just a couple of minutes.
Come on,
there you go, girl.
Being in the middle, probably.
Welcome back as we take a look at your bracket. Our first matchup of the night, Virginia Tech and LSU, and it is the Tigers in their first national title game in program history as they stage a come-from-behind victory to take down the Hawkeyes. And look who's joining us on the set, Kim Mulkey and Angel Reese. An incredible game to tip things off. And Angel, we heard from your team. They say that you're the emotional leader with your team down 12 in the third quarter. What did you say to them to stage that comeback?
Just staying calm, staying poised, and staying confident. We believed in each other all year, and it's not like we haven't been in a moment like this before. LSU, we play on a roller coaster. We can never go on a run. We can never keep a run and just hit the door and let it go. So we went up 9, and then we came back down, and then we went back up. So just being able to get this far with this team and just believing in each other has just been amazing all year.
And Kim, talking about, they've spent so much attention, paid so much attention to Angel, but Lex Luthor came early, showed up early today.
LaDeja, let's talk about LaDeja.
Okay.
Guarding Kitley and scoring, and then she got in foul trouble. Alexis kind of takes her time until she decides she wants to play. But Alexis Morris, in my opinion, is the best guard on the floor. She turned it up a notch in that fourth quarter, and when she did, Flage got the steal, and then everybody got energized. She flew to the offensive boards. But yeah, we do like this a lot.
Angel, you are not only statistically productive, but we know that you're the leader for this squad. But the first half was very different for you compared to your second half. What adjustments did you make to find your way back to the glass in fine fashion?
Man, they told me in halftime that they were out-rebounding us by 11. So I took that personal. I'm supposed to be the best rebounder, so I took that really personal and just tried to get as many rebounds as I can. I mean, I think I let them box me out a lot in the first half. So seeing how the officials, when I got that first foul, it kind of let me play a little softer. So now I got a little physical in the second half, and I was able to dominate.
That you did.
Angel Reese, just the fourth player in tournament history with 100 points, 10 blocks, and 10 steals in an NCAA tournament since the year 2000. But we got to show some love to your coach and her fashion, because she has inspired all of us. So much so, you all were getting ready for the matchup. We've got to show you. We slid into the DMs of your stylish Newberg, and please take a look at what we did in honor of you, Kim Mulkey, here on the set. We wore some.
Oh my God!
She flew them in for us so that we could do our best Kim Mulkey.
Angel, you got to critique these fits though.
Okay, wait, I don't like the blue. I like the other ones. I like the other ones. They were cute. They were cute.
Listen, we cannot wait to see what you've got for us on Sunday at 3:30 as you are in the national. Congratulations. We will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much for joining us, and go celebrate with your team. I know that's what you ultimately want to do. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course, as for who LSU will be facing in the title game, 20 minutes we will decide. Caitlin Clark going off. Will it be enough to keep Iowa to their first title? We'll certainly see as second half action from American Airlines Center is on the other side. This was the Degree Halftime Report.
Getting ready to start the third quarter. This Final Four matchup, Iowa, a 1-point lead on South Carolina. As we welcome you back courtside. Hey again, everybody, Ryan Rucco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Say that half lived up to the hype, huh?
I'd say so.
You're enjoying yourselves, right? Caitlin Clark, just absolutely terrific. The mastery is always there as we take a look at tonight's Game Changers presented by Under Armour.
Well, of course, every defense is going to try to focus on limiting Caitlin Clark. They're going to throw different defenders at her. 5'9", 6'5", switches off on her, doesn't matter, still able to score. Here, 6 foot tall on her, 6'7", helps out. What a beautifully dropped dime into Sonano. And then in the full court, she delivers as well. Caitlin Clark has been masterful. It's the reason she was voted the National Player of the Year. Certainly did not disappoint in that first half.
Take a look at her shot chart. Clark, 7 of 12 from the floor. You wonder if there might be more looks coming as well. And how about the different looks she got as well, Rebecca?
Well, we talked about you have to throw different players at her, and that's what Dawn Staley did the entire first half, whether it was her primary defender or when the switch happened.
Let's send things over now to Andrea Carter.
Well, South Carolina is in this game because of Zia Cook leading the way offensively. 18 points. Her tournament high is 21 against South Florida. 18 in that first half. And what might have been pressing last season has turned into patience this season. Even when Zia Cook was chased and denied, she was able to keep her head up, attack, and elevate to score to carry the Gamecocks through that first half.
You see South Carolina in the second halves of games has been unbelievably difficult. This is just the fourth time they have trailed at the half.
What might have been for Zia Cook last year pressing, this year has been impressing.
Clark, a deep one, short. Rebound, Victoria Saxton. Boston back on the floor after she was limited in that first half to just 8 minutes with 2 fouls. South Carolina was able to outscore Iowa with Boston on the bench. Clark has 2 fouls herself as Marshall comes back for the steal. Here is Clark. Clark spinning into the paint, gets to the cup, and reverses it in.
South Carolina has Aliyah Boston back on the floor. Get her a touch, whether it's in the high post or the low.
Boston working down on Warnock. Here's Cook, squeezes a low pass. Saxton trying to get it into Boston. Fletcher will take. No. Long rebound, Fletcher. Fletcher bangs in, can't finish. Rebound poked out of bounds. And again, it's going to stay here with South Carolina. Iowa just cannot grab a defensive rebound.
Caitlin Clark just going around here. Fletcher, the tough finish with her back to the rim. What can't she do, Ryan Rucco?
Is there an answer to that?
Apparently not.
Saxton. And we have a foul away from the ball on who? If it's on Sonano, it will be her third. And it is. So a third foul on Monica Sonano.
It's going to be physical inside and
maybe grabbing at Boston. So this is an interesting decision for Lisa Bluder. She's going to send Sonano to the bench with the third foul. But are these other bigs for Iowa ready for the moment? Addison O'Grady comes in.
They certainly aren't the same threat on the offensive end of the floor.
Boston spins, flips, can't finish. Rebound into the arms of Marshall. Here is Clark. Clark goes around Fletcher. The leader is good. You almost feel like for Iowa to win, they have to cash in whenever they get a defensive rebound. Fletcher can't finish. Here's another D board. Clark separates from Cook. Can't hit the three. Knocked away, kept alive. Martin thought about it in the corner. Out to Marshall. Warnock clapping for it, and now Lisa Bluder will calm down Iowa. South Carolina +9 on the offensive glass. Warnock dumps it inside. O'Grady lays it in. Gorgeous set there for Iowa. And a good start to the third for the Hawkeyes.
Iowa continuing to take advantage of South Carolina's aggressiveness.
And that is going to be a foul on Aliyah Boston. Her third. And Aliyah is mystified. We'll take another look, Rebecca. It looked like she was just standing there.
You could read her lips. She said she's holding me, so let's see it here. Warnock trying to step in front. Boston, she got her with the elbow, and that's what the official saw, not the arm in front of her first.
And this time, Boston will stay on the floor after picking up her third. Martin spins into the paint. Martin lays it in. Iowa's matched its largest lead. It's 9. And now a foul on who? It'll be on Iowa. This is, in fairness to the officials, it's such a tough game to defend with the physicality and the size of South Carolina.
Incredibly physical in the paint.
Cook dips it. Saxton can't finish it. Boston misses as well. Cook gets a chance. No, another chance, and this time Boston banks it in. Here's Kate Martin beating South Carolina down the floor, and O'Grady softly puts it home. Boston a deep catch. Boston, no. Warnock the rebound. Pushing for Iowa. Martin. We'll calm it down now. Clark had some space. Tried to force a pass there. One of the first bad decisions of the night for Caitlin Clark. Zaya Cook leaning. Follows it up. And a whistle, and it's going to be on Iowa as they cannot secure the defensive glass again. And it'll be on McKenna Warnock, her second.
And how about Zaya Cook following her shot, knowing that the off-balance three was going to be short and able to get the O board.
South Carolina has won 42 straight games, tied for the 7th longest streak in Division I history, the longest in school history. They've gone 389 days since their last loss. Iowa leading by 9 in this third quarter. A charged up Iowa fan base here in Dallas. Again, Clark sagging completely off of Johnson.
And not even looking at her.
Bree Beal doesn't get the roll. Look at Cardoso tip it to herself and bank it in.
South Carolina is going to get more field goal attempts than you because of their relentlessness on the offensive glass.
Clark, a little risky. Martin able to keep it alive for the Hawkeyes.
So you have to shoot a higher percentage, including from the three-point line.
And that's going to be a foul on Raven Johnson. Hey, the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final Four begins Saturday, 6 Eastern on CBS. For more information, go to ncaa.com. You have a good spot picked out for us to watch it tomorrow night?
Do I?
Oh, it's Holly's job. I forgot.
That's right.
7-point Iowa lead with 5:51 to go in the third. Clark picked up the dribble, needs some help, finds it in Marshall, who has shot it very well in this tournament. Stolke sets the screen. Clark will pull, can't hit, side rim no. Stolke looked like she nearly fouled Cook. Zia Cook wheeling all the way in and banks it home. Zia Cook with a 20-point night. Here is Martin. Martin tucks it. Stolke kicks it. Clark into the paint, stops, dishes. Warnock connects on a three.
Caitlin Clark's ability to manipulate the defense to get her teammates open looks.
Meanwhile, Cardoso is getting whatever she wants on the interior.
She's been incredible in this game for South Carolina.
Clark rims out. Marshall nearly came up with a steal. 6-point Iowa lead, more than halfway through the third. Boston playing with 3 fouls. Clark has 2. Sonano on the bench with 3 for Iowa. Dump inside, and there's going to be another Iowa foul. Timeout on the floor. The Stars are delivering tonight. Caitlin Clark continues to shimmer. 23 points, 7 assists. How about Zia Cook? The guard has poured in 20 points, adds 7 boards as well.
In that last Iowa huddle, Lisa Bluder was relentlessly positive. She talked to her team about valuing the ball, boxing out, but then she keeps saying this phrase over and over, mission focus. She wants them so focused on each play, the intricacies, mission focus, mission focus. She is so positive right now, trying to breathe that positivity into her team.
She has had her team navigating without Monica Sonano for most of this third after she picked up her 3rd foul. Bree Beal got a running start, can't bank it in. Cardoso does, plus the foul.
You heard Caitlin Clark talk about that with Holly Rowe in our halftime interview. We've got to stop giving up the and ones on the offensive rebounds, but when the player getting the board is 6'7", that's a lot easier said than done.
Most second chance points and offensive rebounds Iowa has allowed this season. One of the reasons they improved so much this year defensively was because of their dramatic jump when it came to securing the defensive glass. Iowa is just in a league of their own, though. Excuse me, South Carolina is when it comes to offensive rebounding. Warnock dips inside, can't finish it. Working around Boston, who has 3 fouls. Here's Johnson. Johnson dumps it underneath. Nice job by Kate Martin to deny it. Clark, eyes up, finds Marshall. Stolke battling with Boston. Gets it back. Stolke can't flip it in. Boston did a nice job defending there despite the 3 fouls. And maybe Iowa a little too focused on trying to put number 4 on Boston there. Here's Beal. Beal dips in and finishes. South Carolina back to within 2.
The overpowering size and strength of South Carolina at every position.
Clark has the mismatch. Oh, Caitlin Clark. Now you see her, now you don't. That ends a 6-0 burst from South Carolina. 25 for Clark. Boston gets good position inside and gets fouled.
Great hands by Aliyah Boston. Hands on one end from the big and feet on the other. Caitlin Clark knows she's got 6'7" right there. What do? Boop, step right through. Masterful once again.
Stolke will check out. She has 3 fouls now. Sonano back in with her 3 fouls, and Boston will go to the line to shoot 2, the presumptive #1 pick in this year's WNBA draft, although Boston has not yet officially said she is headed to the draft.
Keep an eye, because South Carolina is very good offensive rebounding off of missed free throws.
Hits them both, no chance there. And a substitution here. Amihir will come and get Boston. And remember, Letitia Amihir's minutes in that first half were critical for South Carolina. At 8 points and 6 rebounds, 5 of which were offensive. And a foul here on a reach-in.
Kate Martin's did a really nice job to give Caitlin Clark possessions where she doesn't have to bring the ball up and doesn't have to work quite as hard, and has handled the pressure fairly well.
Iowa just 5 of 17 from 3. Clark has it on the logo. Tried to force it in. Sonano battling for it and gets the whistle. And that's the savvy offensively Sonano has that those young bigs for Iowa do not. Although they did a nice job holding their own with Sonano on the bench for a prolonged period.
And this is a bobbled pass. It does not count as a dribble, and she gets it and tries to throw it up, knowing it's not going to go in, but she can get herself to the free throw line.
Do you want to give your dribble stat?
There's one. I'm not counting the ones on the free throw.
What's one?
She has one entire dribble. One dribble the entire NCAA tournament, 4 games coming into here. These dribbles right here are the most we've seen her dribble in the last month.
She hits both free throws, and Sonano's a player who averages 17 points per game. She gets her looks, she just doesn't put it on the deck. South Carolina started 1 of 11 in the quarter. They are 5 of 6 since. Beal dives in. Beal has it stripped, but a foul, and who is it on? It's on Kate Martin. It will be her second, and free throws here for Bree Beal.
South Carolina playing through the high post and passing on to the weak side where Beal has the size advantage. Comes in, she's surrounded. Ooh, that looked like good hands by Sonano.
Yeah, not sure there was much there.
But as you mentioned, it has been a very physical game in the paint, not an easy one to officiate.
Beal hits the second. 55-52, Iowa in front. Clark gets it into Marshall, right back to her. Guarded by Johnson. Clark stops on a dime. Lefty runner won't go. Rebound Johnson. Beal given a lot of space. Spins, Bree Beal can't finish. Sonano the rebound. Outlets to Marshall. Iowa leading by 3. And they have not hit threes like you would have thought they had to in order to have a lead at this juncture. 5 for 17, although South Carolina 1 for 14. And a foul underneath against Amihir. And that is going to put Sonano at the line. And that will be number 3 on Letitia Amihir. Sonano hits the first. Boston on the bench at the moment for South Carolina. 3 fouls for Boston. Sonano hits them both. 5-point Iowa lead. A trip to Sunday's championship game against LSU on the line tonight. Again, Iowa just inviting Johnson to shoot. Johnson will this time, and hit. That is a huge one for Raven Johnson, who shot it at just 21% from 3 this season.
But Iowa will continue to play the percentages and continue to play off of her.
Clark has the switch, dumps it in, and a little out in front of Sonano as Iowa turns it over.
Raven Johnson does not have a defender within, what, 10 feet of her? They're just looking at her, not contesting in any way, able to get it to fall.
1 for 3 tonight now. .40 seconds to go in the third. Cook. Clark comes with help. Cook loses it. Out of bounds to Iowa. And they can essentially hold for a final shot.
Kate Martin had elite communication defensively to her team, knowing that there was a clear out to the right side, ready to expect the drive by Zia Cook.
12th South Carolina turnover. Iowa has turned it over 7 times. About a 2-second difference, game and shot clock here. Clark, 25 points, 7 assists. Shot clock at 6. Clark finds Warnock, back to Clark, into Sonano, deep catch. The runner is good for Sonano, and that is how the third quarter will end. For just the second time this season, South Carolina trails, headed to the 4th.
Monica Sonano makes post play look easy. Post play is not easy.
She has the last 6 for Iowa. Holly Rowe will chat with Dawn Staley when we come back. Iowa 59, South Carolina 55 after 3. The NCAA Women's Championship is presented by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Iowa 4-point lead as we get ready to start the 4th quarter. Moments ago, Holly Rowe caught up with South Carolina head coach Dawn Staley.
Coach, your team is in unfamiliar territory right now. Just the second time all season you've been down going into the 4th. What do you need composure-wise right now?
We need to play a little bit quicker and make quicker decisions. Got to get that ball into Aliyah. We're all right, though.
Zia Cook has been breathtaking. Her speed, her decision-making, how has she kept you right in this?
Yeah, she's moving at a good pace. We got to get her some more looks. We got to be a little bit more aggressive and see if we can turn the tide in a fouling situation.
Thank you, Coach.
Taking a look at our game stats brought to you by UFOS. Caitlin Clark, 25.7 assists. Zia Cook, 20 points, 7 rebounds. Aliyah Boston has been severely limited because of foul trouble, what Dawn Staley was alluding to. And South Carolina has had its usual dominance on the offensive glass. As far as team fouls for the game go, Iowa has been called for 13, South Carolina 14. Ryan Rucco, the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo, Holly Rowe and Andrea Carter with you. Rebecca, 4th quarter setup here. Iowa the 4-point lead. What are some things that you're really looking for early in this frame?
Iowa handling the defensive glass. South Carolina has been relentless in their ability to get 2nd and 3rd looks. Of course, you want to make sure Aliyah Boston stays out of foul trouble or further foul trouble. But right now, Iowa continues to change things, looks up a little bit defensively.
Johnson hit a 3 a moment ago. Here is Cook. She's been the best offensive weapon for South Carolina. Boston draws 2, kicks it out. Johnson gets a good look and knocks it down. Huge 3s here for Raven Johnson.
Monster shots from Raven Johnson, the freshman.
And a great delivery from Aliyah Boston.
Redshirt freshman.
Here's Clark. Clark wheels into the paint, kept her left foot down, it seemed, but no. A travel is called, and Iowa turns it over.
Iowa continuing to leave Raven Johnson wide open. There's one defender on her side of the floor, and she doesn't even take a step towards her. And Johnson steps into it with confidence.
South Carolina, 3 for 16 from 3. Iowa just 5 for 17. You would have thought that'd be a big advantage for the Hawkeyes. It has not been yet. Boston lays it in, and South Carolina back in front.
A great give and go between your big 6'7" Cardoso, easily passing it over to 6'5" Boston.
Clark gets a clean look and knocks it down. The show is delivering. 28 for Clark, 2-point Iowa lead.
She's a step or two closer to Raven Johnson after she's made those threes.
Clark was able to avoid getting her third foul after two early ones. Johnson airmails it. Long rebound, Martin. Here comes Clark. Clark, eyes up. Using the screen from Sonano. Bounces to her on the roll for two. 8 assists now for Clark. Sonano has 18 points. Nice response from Iowa after Boston put South Carolina in front. Beal over to Boston. Tried to squeeze it back to Beal. Beal turns, can't finish. Cardoso does. She's unstoppable. Cardoso is 7 of 7 from the floor. She has 14 points and 11 rebounds. Here's Clark. A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark! Absolutely ridiculous. Johnson will take. No. Boston stripped. Cardoso can't get it. Martin the rebound. Clark wants it. Hang on. No. He's going for the crowd pleaser. Zia Cook trying to take advantage. Cook lost it. Got it back. Laid it in.
Zia Cook, the one guard for South Carolina who looks like she wants the ball in her hand, like she wants to shoot it.
Zia with 22. One possession game once again. Clark lost it. Little careless there, and a foul on who? It's a foul on Clark, and it will be her third.
Caitlin Clark with 31 points. You know she loves the right to left crossover. We've seen multiple times in this game the defender right there, and it still results in 3.
13th 30th point game this season, 36th of her career. She does have 7 turnovers now. That one just got a little soft with the basketball. 4 minutes into this fourth. Iowa leads by 3. Cook turns, takes, can't hit. Cardoso is fouled. If it's Sonano, it will be her 4th. You see Caitlin Clark, 36 career games with at least 30. Only 1 game in her career with fewer than 10. And Iowa is going to take a timeout. Sonano picks up her 4th. Big one there. She's been so good on the other end. Iowa leading by 3 with 5:52 to go in the fourth. Caitlin Clark is asked to amaze, and time again, she does. Let's take a look at her Capital One rewarding performance. How about Caitlin Clark and Monica Sonano?
Caitlin Clark has been an elite facilitator, but Monica Sonano in this game has been an elite finisher as well. And Clark leads her so well, but some of these finishes, some have been easy, some have been really, really hard. And these two have continued to flourish playing with and through one another.
Each 2,000-point scorers. They talk about how they know what the other's going to do without any words, just a look. But Sonano will be on the bench for the moment after picking up her 4th foul. Now, how long do you keep her there if you are Lisa Bluder?
I think you keep her there until around the 3-minute mark. She has really been terrific, and you want her able to play the last couple minutes of this game.
5:52 to go in the fourth. Iowa 67-64 lead. Remember, South Carolina undefeated. They have not lost since March 6th of 2022. 42 straight wins, including a title a season ago. Winner of this game will face LSU Sunday afternoon, 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
I like the look of high-low between Boston and Cardoso if you can get there.
Boston will fire, short, long rebound. Johnson gets it back to Boston, and a foul is called against Iowa, and it's on Warnock. That will be her third. Lisa Bluder not enamored with that one. And that was an opportunity for Iowa to actually grab a rebound, which hasn't happened often off South Carolina misses.
Well, what's hard is because Caitlin Clark's playing so far off of Raven Johnson, you can't get a body on her, and Johnson smartly got inside and got that offensive board.
23 offensive rebounds for South Carolina. Boston, a 76% free throw shooter. Hit her first two. And hits that one. Just 2 of 8 from the floor is Boston. Last year's player of the year. Was limited because of fouls in that first half. Misses the second, and Clark ends up with the rebound. Clark burning by Beal. Caitlin Clark lays it in. 33 for Clark. Trying to will her team to the title game. Cook surrounded. Beal gets a good look. No, rebound Clark. Clark slowing it down. Gonna have to get it across the timeline, and she does. Here is Clark. She'll fire. Back iron, no. O'Grady can't get to it. Timeout on the floor. A heavyweight fight. Caitlin Clark wanted that look. Would have made it a 7-point game. Aliyah Boston. Caitlin Clark. 2 stars seeking a trip to the championship game. Caitlin Clark, her 19th game with at least 25 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Nobody in her stratosphere in the rest of Division I. Iowa a 69-65 lead on undefeated South Carolina with 4:39 to go. You can see Clark upset with herself, missing that open look from 3 moments ago. South Carolina ball. And Sonano remains on the bench for Iowa with those 4 fouls. Lisa Bluder buying a little more time.
South Carolina's gone heavy to get Zaya Cook a look, going to her right side.
Johnson again. How about Raven Johnson? 21% on the season from 3. She has now hit 3 in the second half. It's a 1-point game. Clark looking to shake free. Working so hard to get the basketball. Clark on the drive, misses the runner. Boston the rebound. Gamecocks can jump in front. Cook goes cross court and out of bounds with the pass.
Once again, Raven Johnson wide open for the 3. Caitlin sort of runs out at her on that one, but able to drain it. Her shots have been huge.
Monica Sonano back in for Iowa as Martin gets it into Caitlin Clark. Sonano, Warnock, Clark, Martin, and Marshall for Iowa. Cardoso, Boston, Johnson, Beal, and Cook for South Carolina. Martin gets it down. Sonano is fouled. That'll be the first foul of the quarter against South Carolina, and the 3rd on Cardoso, who has 14 points and 13 rebounds tonight.
Iowa running a set to get Sonano posting up inside, and it's been so physical. Cardoso bumping with the lower body, displacing
Clark curling around. Clark trying to work around Beal. She does. Caitlin Clark has 35. Those looks at the rim have been there for Clark. Cardoso dumps it for Beal. Beal throws it away. Clark has it, an opportunity for Iowa. Clark races in, couldn't finish the layup, didn't get the whistle. Now South Carolina with numbers. Johnson pushing pace. Johnson can't bank it in. Battle for the board, and at last hits Iowa. South Carolina ball with 3:03 to go.
You need to take a breath. All the players need to take a breath. This has been incredible action all game long.
The anticipation for this game was absolutely unrivaled, and the game has completely delivered. Cook on the cut, tried the extra pass, had it taken away, and then a foul on South Carolina.
That's been in heavy rotation for South Carolina, but it's usually Cook coming from left to right, going over the stagger screens. That time she wanted to deliver the ball to a big, but good hands by Iowa.
Clark is 14 of 28 from the floor tonight. 8 assists, 5 rebounds to go with her 35 points. Clark guarded by Beal, one of the best defenders in the country. Warnock stops, trying to get it back to Clark, floats it to her. 10 to shoot. Clark looking to separate. Clark, step back three. Back iron, no. Boston flags it down for South Carolina. 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go.
Clark a little bit closer to Johnson.
Cardoso trapped. Clark tried to come up with a steal, and it last hit Caitlin Clark. Still 12 to shoot here for South Carolina.
Because of their size, it's tough defending South Carolina on under, out of bounds. Sometimes they can just go over the top to a big.
Zaya Cook gets a look, can't hit, banged up in the air. Boston looking to control it, and what will it be? Is it a foul? It is. A foul on Iowa. That is going to put them over the limit, and will put Boston at the line, or no? Is it their fourth?
Just the relentlessness on the offensive glass. Aliyah Boston there, arm gets stuck in.
Fourth on Kate Martin. That was the fourth team foul. South Carolina in the bonus moving forward. Boston dumps it down. Cardoso flips it up and off. Beal battling, so is Clark. Who's going to win it? It's Clark for Iowa, and it last hit Iowa out of bounds to South Carolina, but it can be reviewed. We are under 2 minutes to go. And Clark is really grabbing at her left arm. And it looked like it did last hit Caitlin Clark.
Good hands by Cardoso to get in there.
Wow.
The previous out-of-bounds play is under review. On the floor is South Carolina ball.
Is that off of Cardoso's hand or Clark's hand?
I think it hits Clark's leg.
Foot, yes, yes, yes.
Think about how hard Iowa has to work just to secure a single defensive rebound. And then even when they do, Cardoso comes up with that poke away, and you can see Caitlin Clark grabbing at her left elbow. And right now, when Caitlin Clark grimaces, so does America.
And as hard as Camila Cardoso has worked on the glass, how about here? The 6'7" player with the quick hands and the long reach.
By the way, that foul before on Martin was her third. So Sonano remains the lone player with 4. 1:42 to go. Iowa's had a couple of possessions to try and make this a 2-possession Hawkeye lead. But South Carolina has come up with key stops, and here they are, another chance to score. Down 3 with 1:42 remaining as the officials continue to look at this.
And Well, this monitor review benefits South Carolina because Dawn Staley can draw up a play without calling a timeout. They're clearly going off of Caitlin Clark's right calf. It also really benefits Iowa because this is a team that doesn't have the depth that South Carolina has, and this is a chance for them to catch their breath a little bit in this last 142.
Especially Caitlin Clark, who has 35 points, 8 assists, 6
After
rebounds.
review, the ball stays with South Carolina.
71-68, Iowa in front. Iowa has not shot it well from 3, just 7 for 22. But they've been great inside the arc, and as a result, shooting 49% as a team. Meanwhile, South Carolina shooting just 38%. They have taken 18 more field goal attempts thanks to their offensive rebounding.
Look for a direct entry into Camila Cardoso off of a screen. Just the shot clock here.
Clock is set now. 71-68, Iowa leads, 1:42 to go in the fourth. What a battle it has been tonight in Dallas. Here's Johnson, has 3 threes in the second half. Cook. And a whistle is going to go against who?
Warnock.
Warnock trying to hang with Boston, and that will put Aliyah Boston at the line. McKenna Warnock's 4th personal.
She was trying to fight over the screen, but there certainly was a lot of contact. Ooh, Cardoso moving a little bit too. We talked about how physical it has been inside by both teams.
I don't envy these officials.
No.
Boston, 3 of 4 from the line tonight, 76% on the season, and she misses the first.
And I will say it again because it can be important. South Carolina is outstanding getting offensive boards off of missed free throws.
They rebounded 4 of their 7 misses in the Elite 8. Boston got the second 2-point Iowa lead and a timeout taken by South Carolina. They still have 3 remaining following this one. Iowa with 3 remaining as well. What's at stake tonight?
A lot.
42 straight wins for South Carolina. Have not lost since they lost to Kentucky in the SEC tournament last March. Tied for the 7th longest streak in Division I history. Gone 389 days since losing. Did play 1 overtime game this season. But this has been their greatest test. A group that has passed every test thus far since coming to South Carolina. A class that they still call the Freshies, led by Aliyah Boston. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark trying to carry her team into the title game.
You would expect some pressure here from South Carolina, not only in full court, but in the quarter court. One of the things that Iowa has done so well is gotten Caitlin Clark looks driving to the right side, putting a shooter in the right corner.
Here is Clark. Clark gets it across. 1:30 to go. Sonano wants it. Clark needs some help, and she's going to take a timeout. Wise decision there from Caitlin Clark. Every possession too precious. And Iowa will reset. It has been quite the evening for Caitlin Clark. Take a look at her second half tonight.
So much of Iowa's success is on the shoulders of Caitlin Clark, and she turned them there to get the reverse layup and then scoring over 6-7. The pullback left to drain the contested 3, and her ability to blow by on the right side has also been stellar. I mean, we've been talking about this young woman all season long, and she certainly has not disappointed tonight.
Had the first ever 40-point triple-double in NCAA tournament history in the Elite 8. Tonight, 35 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists, and a 2-point lead with 1:26 to go in the fourth.
As good as South Carolina is defensively, it might be a challenge just getting the ball in bounds. There they go.
Got it to Warnock. Clark able to get back to it. 15 to shoot. Clark all the way in, lays it home. There you go, partner. That is the exact play you anticipated. 37 for Clark. Iowa a 4-point lead. Clark has the last 9. 1 minute to go. Cook banks it in. Big answer by Zia Cook. Clark guarded by Beal in the backcourt. Will get it across to Warnock. Iowa with 2 timeouts remaining. Warnock backs it out. Wants to get it back to Clark, and a tie-up is called. Iowa has possession, so we'll stay with them. But Caitlin Clark is confused as to how that was not a foul, as Warnock was sent to the hardwood by Aliyah Boston.
All over Warnock's arm. I can understand the frustration.
And the head banged hard for Warnock. Iowa does have 2 timeouts if they need to use them. Here is Clark. 10 on the shot clock. Clark guarded by Beal. Clark is fouled by Beal.
Not a bad foul. They had 2 to give. Not a bad foul.
What it does do is put time back on the shot clock. So Iowa can run a little more clock here. Into Sonano. Wants to get it to Clark. Clark going baseline. Wraps it out. Warnock trying to get it back to Clark. 10 to shoot. 25 to go. Here is Clark. A deep one. No. Rebound Warnock. Warnock backs it out to Clark. South Carolina has to foul. They're not. Now they do. One more before they put Iowa at the line. And Dawn Staley instructs her team to do so. Huge offensive rebound for Iowa on a night when South Carolina has dominated the offensive glass.
Iowa with timeouts in case they cannot inbound the ball cleanly.
Kate Martin will be the one to inbound it. Trying to get it in, gets it to Clark. Clark is fouled, and Caitlin Clark will go to the line with a chance to make this a 2-possession lead for Iowa with 13.5 to go. Clark. Cash. Family can barely stomach it. Here's the big one. She got it. A semifinal record, 39 points from Caitlin Clark. And a 4-point lead for Iowa with 13.5 to go. Clark has the last 11 for the Hawkeyes. And there it is, the record. 39 in this semifinal. This young woman has seen the expectations ascend to levels we haven't experienced maybe ever in the women's college game. And she keeps delivering.
Against the best defensive team in the country with some of the best perimeter defenders in the country, she has still delivered.
Now how does South Carolina operate here?
You got to go quick, that is for sure.
Here's Cook. Cook will fire. No. Rebound is put back in by Johnson. And South Carolina has life thanks to another offensive rebound. And some big buckets in the second half by the freshman Raven Johnson. Now Iowa spends a timeout. They have 1 remaining with 9.9 to go in this fourth.
Going quick was more important than whether you got a 2 or a 3. And so South Carolina still certainly has plenty of life left.
Both teams in the bonus. Iowa down to 1 timeout remaining. South Carolina with 2, which means they will be able to advance the basketball. Iowa trying to hand South Carolina its first loss since March 6th of 2022. And can Iowa get the ball into the hands of Caitlin Clark here?
Well, that would be their priority. Number 1, getting the ball in at all. But then number 2, getting it into the hands of Caitlin Clark. Lisa Bluter right there. The inbound is happening in front of her. If she needs to use a timeout, if they can't get it in cleanly, she can do that. Martin,
the trusted inbounder, gets it to Clark. Clark not fouled immediately. Now she is with 8.1 to go. And that will be number 5 for Bree Beal as she fouls out in what could be her final game. She is WNBA bound. A terrific run at South Carolina, and we will see if it ends tonight. Two more huge free throws here for Clark. 4 of 4 from the line tonight. She has 39 points. Clark got it. A 40-point semifinal for Caitlin Clark. This to make it a 2-possession lead again. Oh, yeah. Timeout, South Carolina. 77-73. Iowa in front. Nails at the line from Caitlin Clark. This Iowa fan base has been unreal. Deafening in Seattle. Same story here tonight in Dallas. Want to send love out to everybody in Iowa City who are dealing with some very extreme weather tonight. Sending all of our thoughts your way. As Iowa has a 4-point lead with 8.1 to go. And now, Rebecca, I ask you, in this instance, if you're South Carolina, are you going for the 3?
I think you have to. I think you have to. With only 8.1 left, and the way Caitlin Clark and Iowa have been able to convert their free throws, I think you have to go for 3 here.
Johnson to inbound. Iowa leads by 4. Boston will fire a 3. No. Banged around. Out of bounds. Iowa ball with 2.9 to go. The fate is determined at this point. .9 remaining, and Iowa with the 4-point lead end the basketball. And this dominant run from this historic class of South Carolina on the brink of ending here tonight. Martin will inbound. Martin gets it into Clark. Clark races away, and the mythical mastery of Caitlin Clark continues. Iowa has conquered South Carolina. The Hawkeyes are headed to the national championship game. And South Carolina's undefeated season ends tonight in Dallas. Aliyah Boston consoling Zia Cook, the seniors and defending national champs who have been so consistently excellent since getting to Columbia. And there it is, the final moments for Caitlin Clark in Iowa.
All season, this young woman has led this team to a place that they have not been since 1993 in terms of Iowa. And wow, her teammates have followed in a big way. What a performance.
She scored or assisted on every single point of the fourth quarter for Iowa, and Caitlin is with Holly Rowe.
Well, it was such a hard night for you that you're cramping in the celebration huddle. How did this team do it? Very few thought you could.
All we did was believe in each other. You know, we might even not be the tallest. You know, we knew they were going to beat us on the glass, but all we had to do was have some heart and some belief. And, you know, we came through when we needed big plays, and I'm just so proud of this group, man.
Your coach told you earlier today that common people can do uncommon things. How did this group keep the circle tight when it mattered the most to finish this out?
You know, all we do is believe in one another, and we love each other to death. And that's what a true team is. You know, if you want an example of a team, that's what this is. Coach Bluder knows how to create a team. She knows how to create a culture where everybody's valued, and I'm just lucky enough to be a part of it. You know, I love these girls to death.
It was a scrappy win, though. Kate Martin defending like crazy. People fighting their lives for rebounds. How hard was it?
Man, it was physical. You got to give them a lot of credit. They're a tremendous team. They've had a tremendous year, obviously so well coached. And, you know, they killed us on the glass, but we never hung our heads. You know, we just came right back down every single possession and got after it.
Caitlin, I know it's not about you, but this is an unbelievable performance for you. How did you have ice in your veins tonight?
You know, just a belief. We had nothing to lose. You know, I have all the confidence in this world in this group, and, you know, they believe right back in me, and that's all you need is just teammates that believe in you, coaches that believe in you, a program and a university that supports you, the state of Iowa. You know, they supported me like no other, and I love it.
You scored almost every single point for Iowa since it was 62-60. Do you understand what you've just done?
No, honestly not, but, you know, all that matters is that we won at the end of the day, and the scoreboard says that the Iowa Hawkeyes won. That's exactly what we did.
All right, let's see you in the national championship game. How does that sound?
There, that sounds amazing.
What a night from Caitlin Clark. Back-to-back 40-point games. We'll see you Sunday on ABC, 3:30 Eastern. Our coverage starts at 2:30. LSU and Iowa. Iowa takes down South Carolina. For our producer, Kerry Callahan, our director, Jimmy Platt, Andrea Carter, Holly Rowe, and the Hall of Famer, Rebecca Lobo. I'm Ryan Rucco. Coming up next, it's SportsCenter. What a night in Dallas.